Well, hello, hello. How's everyone doing this fine Tuesday afternoon? Hope everyone's having a lovely day. I'm having a pretty solid one. Voice might be a little hoarse. Sorry about that. Went to a concert last night, screamed a bit, so that was fun. But, yeah, we are back with more Tsukihime. Wanted to apologize in advance. Probably gonna be a lighter week. Work is trying to kill me, but we stream on in spite of that. And we are back with more of the funny white woman. I'm trying to remember... Oh yeah, so last time we ended off with that horrific creature that I really don't want to have to think about anymore. That thing was disgusting.
真面目な話よ。あなたの目は後天的なものと言っていたけど、それは現れるのが遅かっただけの話かもしれない。
現れるのが遅かっただけ？
ええ。超能力は突然変異体だけど、それにだって誕生する土壌が必要なの。四季のような目を持つ先祖はいなかったとしても、似通った目を持った親はいたかもしれない。魔術師は知識と身体回路を子供に移植するけど、あなたのような異能は交配による遺伝子だけで伝わっていって、覚醒遺伝として現れる場合が多いから。
交配による遺伝子、つまり親父から？
というより、あなたの一族全体の話ね。家系の中であなただけ特別という考え方の方が不自然よ。あなたに異能があるのなら、あなたの家系すべてが特別と考えるべき。
Dang it, there was a pause. Skip the line.
交配
と家系、あなたに異能があるのなら、あなたの家系すべてが特別と考えるべき。四季の家族ってそういう人たちなんじゃないの？
You got any genetic freaks? Well, there was my Uncle Steiner. I can't help but laugh at the question. She wants me to believe this is all genetic? That Akiha or Makihisa have eyes like mine? I'm 100% positive that's not the case. I'm the only weird one in the family. Besides, without my accident, I'd never have gotten these eyes in the first place. They weren't inherited at all. More like a side effect.
でも忠告は受け取っておく。ありがとう、アルクエイド。
何？いきなりかしこまって。私、あなたにとって嫌な話をしたと思うんだけど。
嫌な話じゃなかったよ。全部俺の体を気遣ってくれてのことだったからさ。今日の学校での事前調査だって俺に無理させたくなかったんだろう。お前だって昼間は辛いのに。だからありがとう。ここまでされてやっと気がつくあたり、お礼を言える立場でもないけど。でもそういうアルクエイドはどうなんだ？腹の傷、本当に塞がってるんだろうな。
そっちはちゃんと塞がってるけど、なんで？
いや、さっき調子悪そうだったから。何もされてないのに苦しそうだったというか、イライラしていたというか。
Oh. I feel a strange sting in my chest. It's not painful, if anything, it's ticklish.
四季？
いや、なんだこれ。
I stick my hand into my shirt without thinking. It's slimy. Why? My fingers are coated in something thick and sticky, like paint.
なんだろう。なんか濡れてる。
I pull my hand from my shirt, from my fingers to my palm. It's slick with crimson blood. Another sting. That strange feeling again. It took me far longer than it should have to recognize that it's coming from the old scar on my chest.
四季、それ。
変だな。痛くもないし傷も開いてないのに胸から血が滲んでる。
It's so red. A bright, pure, eye-catching liquid.
さっきのやつの爪がかすっていたとか、 痛みはないんだし、血もこれしか滲んでこないみたいだし、気にする必要は。
Arquade is staring at my hand. Or perhaps more accurately, she is utterly fixated on the crimson liquid that covers it.
アルクエイド。
She doesn't answer. Her breathing is slow and labored. Heavy, shaking breaths, like it's hurting her to breathe.
おい、アルクエイド。どうした？やっぱり傷が痛んで。
I grab her shoulder. But when I do, she quickly brushes my hand away, fleeing my concern.
アルクエイド。
She pushes out my name between her shallow breaths, a hint of hostility ringing through her tone.
違う。私、そんなこと思ってない。
Oh, she's freaking out a bit. What is this? Arquade looks away uneasily.
どうしたんだよ。変だぞお前。体、まだ回復してないんじゃないのか。
そうね。ちょっと無理しすぎたみたい。だから、私帰るね。
ああ。まあ、どうせ今夜はこれでおしまいだって言ってたけど。
うん。また明日、ここで待ってる。
She's gone before I can stop her, and going after her was never an option. Without even giving me another look, she's leaped into the night sky, like a rabbit hopping across the moon. She looks at blood the same way I look at buffalo sauce, where I'm like, I need to have it. Following the road up the hill from the residential district, I eventually reached the estate's outer wall. It's a little past 2 in the morning. My fatigue is really starting to set in now.
あいつ、あんなんで大丈夫なのかな。
Arquade's expression when we parted steadily weighs on my mind. She didn't seem tired or in pain, but... That's strange. There's something standing there, between the street lamps where neither light reaches. Ooh. Thump. The first thing I feel is terror. The situation is so unnatural, so unreal, it feels like my heart will stop. Unfortunately, I'm already used to things like this. Masking my quickened pulse, I quietly take my knife in hand. Thump. My blood is flowing at double its usual speed. Or perhaps that's just another illusion. It's definitely a person, but I can't see anything other than that. There's something strange about the silhouette. It's getting closer. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of hollow footsteps. Its only exposed eyes, bloodshot and fixed on me. Thump. The blade of my knife is set loose. My other hand goes to the temple of my eyeglasses. A chill crawls its way up my back like a centipede. With one final step, the figure crosses the point of no return. That very moment, the light from the street lamps vanishes with an audible click. Even though the moon is bright tonight, the world is plunged into darkness. Thump. My heart races, as if to inform me of my rapidly approaching demise. His blade races toward my left arm, near the bicep. My reason will have to catch up later. I bring my knife up to meet the flash, streaking toward me through the darkness, deflecting it just in time. The edges of the shadow's lips contort. Somehow, I sense it's grinning, but I can't lose focus. I need to counter this thing. Although I'm surprised, I'm also perfectly calm. Not a second has passed since this figure first came into sight. My thoughts have ceased. Time has frozen over. I don't have a moment to waste on being shocked. The clashing of our blades sends sparks flying into the night air. Though this unnatural darkness conceals us both, I can see something shining brightly within it. Distinct, shimmering junctions connecting the life underneath. I deflect the relentless blade exactly how I intend to. If there's one thing that astounds me, it's the fact that my body is able to stop these shrouded attacks so precisely, even while I'm already this exhausted. Is my opponent simply easy to read? That may be part of it, but it's not all. My arm is simply following the map of lines and points that my eyes see. And in this complete darkness, they're all I can see, so I can focus on them alone. My head. It hurts terribly. My thoughts are on fire. My chest stings. My head hurts. My scar is hot. My eyes feel like they might spill from their sockets. But this feels familiar. Something like this happened long, long ago. Yes. The body of a child covered in blood. Akiha, bloodied and crying. My own blood-soaked hands. Metal crashes against metal. Pure instinct allows me to continue deflecting the blade. That was close. I blacked out there for a second. I won't let my guard down again, because I know where it's aiming. I can parry every strike before my mind even catches up. The reason is simple. It's aiming for my body's lines. That's why I know where it'll aim before it even moves. All I need to do is protect the line it's most likely to be aiming for, based on its posture and timing. The second I realize my enemy's strategy, I finally speak. I know it. The figure can see the exact same thing I do. Damn it. The shadow laughs in the darkness. Its bloodshot eye stares me down mockingly, as if to say, "So you finally noticed." Blood is rapidly pumped through my body. The corners of my lips rise in a confluence of exaltation and fear. I see. Then we're on equal terms. If either one of us hits their mark, it'll be over. But that doesn't matter to me. Not anymore. So what if any of its cuts could kill me? If that was enough to scare me, I wouldn't be alive right now. I think of that sheer cold I endured before. Blov was far more impressive. This thing doesn't compare to a vampire like that, even if it might be the one Arquade's after. All things considered, I have the upper hand. Attack. Attack. I'm taking the offensive. The figure is keeping up, but it's forced to dedicate everything to matching me. I can win. I don't know who this is or where they came from, but what I do know is that I'm cornering them. Goosebumps form on my skin. My heart races with the feeling of power. I can win. I'm stronger. I'm stronger. If this thing is going to kill me, then I'll just kill them first. I deflect my opponent's attack, disarming them. A step forward, a thrust of the knife, bared like a fang at the now unprotected line before me. But something's odd. Why don't I feel any hesitation? The street lamps flicker back on, rousing my mind from its feverish state. There's no one in front of me. The shadow I engaged in battle isn't there. It's been flung against the estate's outer wall, impaled by a long, thin object. I struggle to make sense of the situation. The figure that attacked me, a man apparently, was run through with a rod-like object that flew in from the side. Is that what black keys look like now? Do they not have just like the standard like red handle anymore? The impact must have flung him against the wall. No human could survive something like that. But that thing isn't human. His voice is hoarse. The man, his gut skewered, wheezes as he glares at the night sky. I keep my distance as I follow his gaze. And there... oh. Well, Yeah, I mean, like, I knew that you were in the church too, but I just didn't expect to see you in this shot. This shot is kind of someone else's more famous shot. I see a familiar figure standing atop the streetlight.
ノエル先生。
She's dressed like a nun. In her right hand, she holds a narrow-bladed sword. In her left, an absurdly massive halberd. I recognize the shape of the former. Or to be more exact, part of my brain remembers it having entered my field of view. On a subconscious level, I know that it's one of these swords that saved me from Vlov's icicles. Oh! Oh yeah, because like one of the icicles was going to hit and then something like blocked it. Okay, I vaguely recall that. Our eyes meet. She shoots me a smile, and in the next moment, she launches her swords at the shadowed figure. Give him the zap. As she says the words, light bursts from the swords. I can hear the air shift as she readies her halberd. She readjusts her grip. Oh. Ah. No, I'm ruining the flow. I accidentally hit the trigger. I honestly kind of don't like that feature. And leaps down from the light, aiming for her target. The man cries out as flesh and bone are severed. The shadow-like substance surrounding him is dispersed by Noel's implement of war. The man, shadow and all, begins to dissolve, just like the aberrant zombie I fought in the garage. He stares me down as his body fades away. His black, bloodshot eye exudes hatred, as if he were cursing my very existence. All I can do is stare, dumbfounded. The man fades with the shadows that surrounded him, erased completely from this world, with no evidence he ever existed in the first place. See you later, Roa. Surely you'll never come back. All that remains are the sounds of wind and chirping insects. It feels just like any other night now. It's like the entire world is pretending that the man who screamed his heart out never existed. Meanwhile, I've been left with an equally strange person.
こんばんは。この国の夜は安全だと聞いていたけど、この辺りは物騒なのね。ちょっと散歩していたら、吸血鬼みたいな化け物が可愛い教え子に襲いかかっているんだもの。それとも、あなたの周りが特別なのかしら。どうの四季くん？
The woman turns to face me. She smiles with obvious, unbridled hostility. There's no mistaking it. It's none other than our school's latest substitute teacher.
ノエル先生っていいんですか？
そうね。先生って響きは悪くないけど、ここは学校の外なんだし。
Her footfalls reverberate in my ears. Noel is getting closer. With halberd in hand and an unsettling smile plastered on her face, she approaches. I feel like we don't want to jump to conclusions yet, so let's simply be defensive.
無駄だってな。
Oh. Noel leaps at me the second I ready my knife. The difference in reach between our weapons is too great. Faster than I can think to react, she swipes at my side with the butt of her polearm. My head spins at the overwhelming impact. The attack must have sent me flying over a meter through the air. I brace myself, ignoring the pain from the initial blow. My back hits the asphalt, and I'm able to absorb some of the shock, but Noel is already there.
ダメよ四季君。敵を前にしてあからさまに身構えるとか、もう甘すぎてにやけちゃう。私臆病だからつい本気で打ち込んじゃったけど、まだ生きてる？
I prop my arms under me to try and stand up. But Noel steps down on my chest with a heavy boot.
はーい。おとなしくしていてね。義理もなければ恋人同士でもないんだし。
Oh,
下手に暴れるとその首。
oh, she's a
ボ
little,
キッと潰しちゃうぞ。
she's a little fucked up. Like, I already knew she was a little fucked up, but not like this fucked up. I glare up at Noelle from the ground. I don't understand what's happening in the slightest. All I know is that this woman honestly wants to kill me.
あんたも吸血鬼だったのか。
なんですって。今吸血鬼だって言った。私があんな怪物と一緒だって言ったわけ。
Her boot presses harder on my chest. She's seriously pissed at the mere insinuation she might be a vampire.
首筋に新婚なし。靴に染み込ませた聖水にも拒絶反応なし。ついでに言うと、私好みのファニーフェイスにも変貌なし。はい、異端審査終了。だっていいわよ、どうの四季君。
The boot on my chest is finally lifted. Now free, I stand myself up and try to get my breathing under control. I'm hurting all over, but I think I got off with only some light internal bleeding.
はい、これメガネ。落とし物には気をつけなさい。
そうですか。そっちの横槍で落としたものですけど。
Take my glasses from Noel and place them back where they belong. Now then, what the hell is going on?
とまあ、美少年が一人で出歩くと、こんな風に危険がいっぱいなわけ。忠告がてら脅かしちゃったけど、勢い食べちゃうところだったわ。
She laughs like she made a little mistake. I'm at a genuine loss for words.
あれ？何そのノーリアクション。私たちのこと、あの吸血鬼に聞いてないの？聞いてないのね。あっそう。私みたいな雑魚は眼中にないってわけ。まあいいけど、私も話題になんかされたくないし。いいわ。パパッとレクチャーしてあげる。簡単に言うと、私は町を守る正義のお姉さんみたいな。あのクソ吸血鬼どもから人間社会を守る影の組織とかかっこよくない？
She laughs as she speaks, which makes it difficult to judge how serious she's being. As dubious as her explanation was, it does remind me of something. Yeah, Arkway did tell us about the church.
教会の代行者ってやつですか。
ええ、その代行者。四季君は無神論者でしょ？だから実感は湧かないだろうけど、私たち教会は主の恵みと人の良き営みを守る意志がある。たとえそれがこんな真っ向の国でもね。
First of all, is Shiki an atheist? And second of all, even if that's the case, how do you know that?
ある日突然転任してきた魅惑の美人教師は、その実、教会から派遣された正義のエクソシストだったってこと。
An exorcist, someone who purifies demons. I don't know if vampires count as demons, but it doesn't seem like she's lying.
わかりました。いきなりのことで信じられませんけど、信じます。どうあれ、これで2度目ですし、危ないところを助けてくれてありが。
2度目？ああ、そういうこと。でもまあ、今回は違うわ。たまたま危ないところに出くわしたんじゃなくて、私、最初から君を狙っていたんだし。
最初から俺を狙っていた。
さあ、君が屋敷を出た時からずっと尾行していたの。私のお仕事は 吸血鬼の殲滅だもの。その吸血鬼に従っている人間がいれば監視するのが当たり前でしょ。
Her logic tracks, but she's missing some important context. I'm not following Arquade's orders, and besides, she's a good vampire. We're both trying to save the city.
それは。
まあ本当なら真っ先に吸血鬼の方から殺してるんだけど、相手はあの怪物でしょ。私一人じゃ返り討ちだし、師匠は上司に飛ばされちゃったし。
Oh, so Ciel is just straight up like gone.
仕方なく小さい方の獲物に網を張ってたわけ。
小さい獲物ってのは俺のことですか？
ええ、あの怪物が狂犬なら四季君はプリッとしたエビちゃんね。
Don't fucking call me Whittle! How dare you! Also, that's a good face.
でもなんか様子が変だった。ここ数日君を監視していたけど、無理やり従わされてる雰囲気じゃないし、血も吸われてないでしょ。ねえ四季君、あなたなんであんな怪物と一緒にいるの
？I furrow my brow and swallow the words in my throat. It's not the way Noel asked the question that bothers me. It's that she asked it at all.
おやだんまり。君は吸血鬼の仲間になりたいのかな。定番だけど、永遠の命が欲しいとか？
Question catches me by surprise. I never even considered that, but I guess it would be a natural reason to seek out friendship with a vampire.
でも
That is impossible with Arquade. I mean, she doesn't drink blood, and she doesn't create new allies or grant people abilities. That sort of offer wasn't even on the table.
違うの？ならどうして？
そんなの決まってる。自分たちが住んでいる町のために吸血鬼を借り出す協力をしているだけです。
I stare intently into her eyes. I'm not interested in going back and forth against her, but I won't sit here and let her say whatever she wants about Arquade and me. I tell her as much with my gaze alone.
そう、君が噛まれていたなら、そんなザレ事と一緒に手足ぶった切って置物にしてるところだけど。
God, every time she speaks, I just get flashbanged.
残念ながら、ただの人間には手出しできないものね。今のは聞かなかったことにしておくわ。
Noel turns around and begins walking away. She seems unable to accept the idea of fighting on the same side as a vampire, but at least she's calmed down a little. Or maybe my answer just made her lose interest.
ああ、でも忠告。さっき最初から君を狙っていたと言ったけどね。あれ、もっと深い意味なの。この町に救った人は数年以上前から根付いているわ。
Sorry about that, I had to take a look at something.
私の師匠の言うことには、審査のように昨日今日やってきたわけじゃないんだとか。吸血鬼は外から来るものばかりじゃない。案外身近なところにいて、何十年も前から潜伏しているケースのが多いの。それも町で一番力のある権力者の家にとかね。わかる？自分たちの町を守るとか言っていたけど、そんな曖昧なくくりじゃなくて、君は自分の身を守った方がいいってこと。
それはどういう？
だってそうでしょ。さっきの不死は君を狙ってきたんですもの。吸血鬼を殺して回る神祖じゃなくて、ただの人間である君をね。命があったらまた会いましょう。当の四季君。
With that, the woman dressed like a nun walks away. As she does, she tosses her gaze to a street lamp. Maybe I'll jump up there and hop my way home all cool-like. Nope, not happening. As if I can make a jump like that without a running start. Like, if I could, I wouldn't even be human. Her thoughts blatantly apparent. Noel continues on down the road, massive polearm in hand.
あれはあれで すごい人っぽいような。
That's for true. I mumble, taken aback. As if uttering that comment took the last of my remaining strength, my knees give out from under me and I slump against the wall.
でも狙われたのは俺だって。
It's not unfathomable. I am cooperating with Arquaid after all. But that's not right. I don't know what the real reason is, but I have a feeling that isn't it. My vertigo returns with force now that my adrenaline has faded. With one hand against the wall for support, I make my way to the main gate. My chest hurts. I need to get to my room while I'm still conscious, before my body completely gives out on me. I can worry about the rest later. But the gate is much farther than I thought. As my headache begins to ease, tension abandons the rest of my body. My back still up against the estate's outer wall, I watch as I drift off to sleep. Uh-oh. I do not think Akiha is going... End of chapter? End of chapter. Very appropriate chapter name. White. The color pulls an old memory from the corners of my mind. Something I had long forgotten. Something I had no choice but to forget. Something that my father had ordered me to forget. It was a hot summer day. Huge, fluffy clouds cover the blue sky. The air shimmers with heat, and the keening of cicadas eats at me. The cries of the cicadas. Screech, screech, screech. Screech, screech, screech. Screech, screech, screech. It's so loud, I wish I was dead. Cicada husks are scattered around. It feels as if the beating sun is right on top of us. Burning, sizzling, scorching the clearing. A hot midsummer day. It's as if the world has warped into one massive frying pan. Sob, sob, sob. Sob, sob, sob. Sob, sob, sob. Akiha is crying. The little girl who's always following after me is weeping into her hands. The child is on the ground. He lies deathly still, his white shirt stained a deep red. I gaze down at them. My hands drip with that same red. No, that's not right. My hands are soaked in its blood. This is so funny. I know exactly why they're doing this. Because if you don't know, there's Shiki, and then there's Shiki. This is something that is very Japanese because there's multiple ways, like with the same or with different characters to write the same sounding name. But in English, it's like, what the fuck do we do? So there's Shiki regular, and then there's Shiki all caps. The adults are here. Their faces contort as they realize what's transpired. They drag Akiha away. The other thing is dead. Towering white clouds sail high above in the distance. Left alone, I gaze up vacantly at the summer sky. The adults are yelling. They're yelling the killer's name. My name. Screaming the same 2 syllables over and over like they've lost their minds. Just 2 syllables. The adults call out Shiki as they bear down on me. My hands are drenched in blood. I still don't understand. Killing that which can be killed. Killing that which lives. What's wrong with that exactly? What's wrong with killing? I just like killing folks. Come on, what is that? Is having fun illegal now? I opened my tightly shut eyes. My dreams were familiar somehow, something I didn't fully understand. I'm in my room. I remember losing consciousness in front of the gate, but I don't recall how I got here. My mind is still sluggish. The events of last night come back to me in a scrambled mess. So many crazy things happened that I have trouble processing it all, but one part does stand out. We're on the Arcade route. But the Man in Black, it's interesting to get more thoughts on it. The man cloaked in shadow. Thinking back, he must have been lying in wait for me. He knew the path I take home. Judging by his form, I'm certain he wasn't human, which means it's fair to venture that he was a vampire. Darkwade's enemy have decided to target me now that they know I'm helping her? In any case, I don't have to worry about him anymore. Sure. That eye, twisted and seething with hatred, is closed now. The vampire was able to see the same lines I could, but he's been vanquished by the nun. I have other things to worry about. Time to get moving. It's 7:30. Most days I'd be finished with breakfast by now. Usually she's standing there like a shadow on the wall, but I don't see her today. I bet she came to wake me up a few times. And when I wouldn't budge, she probably gave up and returned to her other duties. Feel bad for Hisui. A deep sigh escapes my lips. I'll be sure to take a nap before meeting up with Arcade tonight. There's no point letting my thoughts linger over what happened last night. I can just talk it over with Arcade later. And if I don't try to have a normal life during the day at least, I might go nuts. Honestly, I'm not really that hungry, but I could use the nutrients. Especially after last night. My body needs fuel to shake off this fatigue. I try lifting my body off the bed, only to find myself collapsing right back down. Like a tree felled for lumber. I tumble shoulder first onto the floor. I'm stuck here, unable to move my arms and legs. Thankfully, everything is so hazy that I've yet to panic. My body may be paralyzed, but I'm breathing normally. Must be the anemia again, I think dully, as if it were happening to someone else. And just like that, I spend my morning on the floor, staring up at the clock until Hisui comes to check on me just after 8. I'm just imagining opening the door and walking on someone with who's halfway falling off the bed. Aww. I'm lying on my bed with my back propped up against the headboard. If it weren't for Hisui, I'd still be planted on the floor. Not true at all. I offer an awkward reassurance after Hisui's surprisingly harsh words. Hisui's reaction when she found me sure was something. When she first opened the door, she was frozen stiff for a few seconds. She then rushed over to help me, and with a face full of determination and purpose, she froze again for a solid minute. Oh yeah, yep. Flustered, she paced around the room for a few minutes before finally leaving to get to Kohaku. Even though Hisui wasn't the one to physically pick me up, there's no questioning her commitment to my well-being. After that, Kohaku helped me to bed and made me some rice porridge, which brings us to now. The one silver lining to all of this is that Akiha has already left for school. If I had fallen 30 minutes earlier, she may have been late.
とにかくありがとう、翡翠。美味しいご飯も食べたし、こうしていれば貧血も収まるから、仕事に戻っていいよ。
かしこまりました。ですが、せめて診察は受けていただきます。今朝は荒木先生がいらっしゃいますので、これを機にしっかりお体を見ていただくのはいかがでしょうか。
Oh god, are we gonna have to talk to the quirked up doctor again? What a coincidence. So, that oddball doctor's here too, huh? I really don't think I need to be examined, but I doubt Hisui will just let this go. I feel like we should probably just... We went with Iraq last time. Let's see Iraq again. Okay. Kawaku is probably busy with other work, so I'll see Professor Iraq. I don't exactly trust her, but she is a professional. Scrapes and bruises should be right up her alley. Plus, I still don't know the extent of my injuries from my run-in with Ms. Noel last night. It couldn't hurt to get looked at, just in case I have internal bleeding or something.
指名と聞いてやってきたけど、お客さん、悪いところは見当たらないわよ。腕の一本、目玉の一つでもいっちゃってるかと期待して飛んできたのに、これじゃ私欲求不満よ。あ、性的な意味もあるけど、主に知識欲の話ね。
Despite complaining the whole time, Professor Iraq takes a thorough look over my body. She checks the sound of my pulse and measures my heart rate. I also have her examine my legs, which have weighed on my mind since my fight with Vlav. Ultimately, she finds nothing wrong. Everything comes back well within the norm. With an overdramatic pout, Professor Iraq appears disappointed that there wasn't something more.
ま、体温は少しだけ下がってるし。よし、つまんないから1本ぐらいお注射決めておきましょう。今回は試しにプラセンタいってみる？
First of all, a good face, but second,
もともと女性向けの栄養剤だけど、おすすめよこれ。
Placenta, the stuff extracted from uterine tissue. I hear it's mostly used in cosmetics. What? I'm sorry, huh? I feel like I'm learning a lot that I didn't want to know. But it can also act as a stimulant for recovery from fatigue. They say it even has anti-aging properties.
お願いします。以前お世話になっていた医院でもたまに打ってもらっていましたから。
Rose regularly getting injected with placenta like it's just the most normal thing in the universe. Okay.
あらあら、話が早くて助かるわ。さすが病弱少年、痛いのは慣れているのね。
慣れてませんよ。基本は内服薬でしたし、注射はたまにしかありませんでした。
ふむふむ。じゃあもう一度お手手を出して。
She's gonna inject my fucking palm or something, I bet.
はい、ザッキューン。幹部ごと患者のハート、イチコロよ。
I seriously disagree with her choice of onomatopoeia. Squelch. Ugh. With my shot done, the checkup is over. Except... Professor Iraq makes no move to leave the room. Instead, she lingers behind, her eyes fixated on my body.
博士、何かまだ他に要件？
そうなの。診察中にチラッと見えちゃったから気になって。
I'm sorry I keep taking screen caps of her, but she has really good faces.
きっちゃん、ガバッと洋服脱いでくれる？
はあ？脱ぐって裸ですか？
そうそうそう。あ、マッパになる必要はないわよ。私もまだトースちゃんに殺されたくないし。 見たいのはしきちゃんの上半身そちら胸にすっごい傷跡があるんじゃない？
そっちですか。まあいいですけど。
I'm not weird, or I'm not wild about the idea, but there's no reason for me to say no. She is a doctor after all. I take off my shirt and sit on the bed.
いいじゃないいいじゃない、メープルでジューシーな感じ。いい腕してるって思ったけど、こうして全体として見るとそそるわ。冬ごもって穴蔵ライフになってもしきちゃん一人いれば食うに困らないわ、あたし。
Sure, lady. Oh, hey, Aurora. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. She seems unable to contain her joy as she probes my shoulders, arms, and stomach. Touched like this, and given her bold choice of dress, I find myself getting a little worked up.
胸の傷跡を見るんじゃないんですか？
おっと、そうだった。失敗失敗。おー、なるほど。なんか使ったにせよ完全に塞がってるわ。貧弱なのに代謝機能は人並みというか、生き残りやすいというか、すっごく残念。しきちゃん何も引くものがないんだもの。これじゃあ私も足しようがないって感じ？
After a couple of minutes, Professor Arak moves away from the bed, seemingly satisfied.
でもすっごい傷よね。普通の人間どころか映画に出てくる吸血鬼だって死んでるわよ。事故に遭った時はどのくらい痛かったのかしら。私想像するだけでドキドキしちゃう。
そうですか。何でもガラス片が降ってきて突き刺さったらしいです。
Flustered by her use of the word vampire, I explain something that doesn't need explaining.
あれ覚えてないの？覚えてないのね。ならそれはまた別の話としましょう。しきちゃんはここに帰ってきちゃったんだもの。どうあがいてももう逃げられっこないんだし。
Hold on. What did she just say?
なんてなんでもない、なんにもない。それじゃあ私はこれにて退場。またいつかラブのタイミングがあった時に会えるといいわね。
Professor Arak leaves, her heels clicking against the floor. Huh. Something about the way she walks reminds me of a spider skittering after its prey. They're playing the song with the fucking prelude in it again. I'm gonna lose it. It's afternoon now. After having a light lunch, I return to my room. Hisui urged me to get some rest today, not that I have anything to do in the first place.
体の調子は戻ったんだし、ここは
Take a walk around the first floor. Take a walk around the second floor. Get out of here, bot. You almost tricked me into thinking you were a real person. Nice try, idiot. But let's see here. First floor, second floor. Second floor is I think first floor is probably the better pick here. Let's do the good old classic save Rooney though before we do. Let's hit up the first floor. Maybe we'll find either Hisui and or Kohaku. After mulling over what to do, I decide to take my first walk around the estate in 7 years. I'll stick to the first floor for now and make my way over to the courtyard. I find myself squinting from the sunlight peeking through the windows. The lobby never ceases to amaze me. When I was little, I used to get in trouble all the time for exploring the mansion. It seemed like a castle back then. I was so certain that if I looked hard enough, I would find some secret passageway into another world. That sense of adventure is gone now, though, along with my nagging father. They're all in the past.
懐かしいな。昔は屋敷の廊下を歩くだけでドキドキしたっけ。
Seven-year-old memories of sneaking through the lobby begin to resurface. Spurred by those echoes of the past, I begin my stroll around the mansion. I head outside to the terrace. Strange as it is, I have a better recollection of the grounds than the mansion itself. It's hard to fathom just how enormous the estate is. If the mansion itself is 10 times bigger than most houses, then the land beneath it must rival the size of an amusement park. To a 10-year-old like me, it must have seemed like a dreamland, a fantasy world that I could call my own. I'd spend the day roaming around, carving my name into the trees and the dirt. Akiya and I had a game where we'd see who would claim the most territory. We decided at one point that we controlled any area we carved our name on. From there, we set out to tag pretty much everything we could find. Most of the time we spent together was actually out here in the garden. Though, unlike me, she listened to Makihisa, so she could only play for 30 minutes a day. Even so, all she ever did was follow closely behind us, listening carefully to what we said. But once she got going, she'd run around, turning everything into a competition.
なんだ、あいつ。昔から今の性格の下地はあったんじゃないか。
Could it have been a facade? An act she was putting on in front of the old man? Still, even if that were true, she's changed too much. Or maybe I just didn't understand how long 7 years can be. Time passes, and children grow up. Neither of us is who we were back then.
Oh, あったあった。
There's a gazebo in the courtyard. At the base of one of the pillars, hidden from the sun's gaze, I find a name etched onto the stone. I circle around the building, counting the names as I go. Shiki, Akiha, Shiki, Shiki, Shiki. It looks like this place was fought over 5 times. Most places are the same, with my name appearing a lot more than hers. I wonder why. Akiha was still a little girl. She probably just couldn't keep up with my boundless energy.
たく、手加減ぐらいしてやればよかったのに。
Although it's not like I can go back and change what happened just because I feel bad about it now. Akiha has always hated losing. From the looks of this, I bet I made her shed quite a few tears.
そうか。案外この恨みを今になって晴らしてるのかもな、あいつ。
Akiha is the last person I'd expect to do that, but there is something incredibly adorable about the thought of it.
ああ、なんか俺もとことんバカ兄貴だ。
Chi, that's exactly what you are. Make no, misconceptions otherwise. I chuckle wryly to myself before lifting my head. I've had some fun walking down memory lane. Maybe it's time I head back in. But before I turn to leave, something catches my eye. I spy another marking, scratched into the underside of the gazebo's ceiling.
あんなところに。
How did that get carved there? I doubt an adult could even reach that high, let alone a child.
なんだろう。俺の名前だけど。
From within the gazebo, I put my feet up on the handrail to get a better look. It's well hidden. Adults wouldn't be able to see it unless they crouched at the correct angle. There, lurking in a hidden corner of the ceiling. Beware your brother. I don't understand. Beware your brother. This isn't Akia's handwriting, which would mean I wrote this. A sudden sound draws my attention. Through Through the trees, I glimpse the brown and white of a maid's uniform.
翡翠
She hasn't noticed me. For whatever reason, she continues further into the forest.
なんで森に
All that's out there is more trees. So what could we possibly be doing? Curious, I decide to follow her for a bit. Oh, is this where we find the secret house? There's a path through the forest, though it hasn't been paved. They say these woods were once the main part of the Tono family estate. Originally, the land where the mansion and the garden stand was just the entranceway to this forest, but after the war, the head of the family decided to change things to how they are now. I proceed through the woods. The trees aren't too dense, but they seem to stretch on into infinity. Eventually, I spot a strange building.
あんな建物あったっけ
I half expect Hisui to go inside, but instead she walks in the opposite direction. Maybe it's some kind of temple or gathering hall. Continue treading along. After about 10 minutes of walking, the labyrinth of trees comes to an abrupt end.
広場だ
In the middle of the forest is an unnaturally open field. What could this place be? At the very least, I have no memory of it. If I hadn't tailed Hisui, I would have never known about this tiny patch of land, buried deep in the forest.
こんなところあったかなあったなら学校の遊び場だけど
Yeah, maybe you would have. I have no recollection of playing in this clearing with Akiha. At least, I don't think I do. I contemplate for a second before stepping into the clearing. There's not much out here. Hisui, who had been ahead of me this whole time, is nowhere to be seen.
なんだただの空き地じゃないか
The sun beats down harder in the center of the clearing. Even looking down, its glaring white rays overtake my vision. Oh. I wonder if it's because I've been in the shade for so long. It feels like the middle of summer. Glancing upward, I find huge, fluffy clouds high in the sky. The air shimmers with heat, and the keening of cicadas eats at me. The cries of the cicadas. My consciousness sizzles. My knees buckle, thudding onto scalding sand and soil. I know this place. I may have forgotten, but I know it. The summer sun batters my forehead. The screams of cicadas echo in my ears. The smell of blank assaults my nostrils. At my feet lies a crumpled mass, dark and red, that was alive just moments ago. The wound on my chest flares, like a knife. Splitting skin and flesh, this pain punctures through my chest. The cicadas screech, screech, screech. They wail for it to stop, stop, stop. They cry for the dead, dead, dead. I hear more screeching. Of cicadas? Even though it's already autumn. Looking up, I feel the summer sun pierce my eyes. The tepid air makes me feel sick. I'm besieged by the sights and sounds of empty shells. The husk of a cicada lies at my feet. A husk that was once a human. The wound splits open. A deluge of red spills out of the chest, coating my hands in a glistening crimson. I glimpse the silhouette of a figure slumped over, followed by the sound of a young girl's footsteps rushing towards it. Towering clouds sail high above in the distance. Beneath a blue sky, creatures have cast off the shell of this mortal coil. By the time I realize what's happening, I see Akiha, bloodied and crying. Screech, screech, screech. Screech, screech, screech. I'm in hell. The shrill of the cicadas threatens to pierce my eardrums like a needle. What is this? My chest stings. I think I'm going to be sick. My wound should have been closed a long time ago. Why does it hurt so bad now? It feels busted, unripened, or unimpeded. A red fluid begins to flow. What's happening? My wound hasn't healed at all. It hurts. I'm scared. This is the impulse of death. My consciousness plummets. Pus blooms where my wound tears open. My mind regresses, smothered by illusions of summer. It feels like my soul is escaping. I hear the soft thud of my body hitting the grass. I can hear people talking.
秋葉様、お医者様をお呼びしないのですか？
バカなことは言わないで翡翠。呼べるわけがないでしょ。兄さんの傷は普通の傷じゃないんだから。
Akia and Hisui are speaking. This is Shiki's room. I'm sleeping on the bed. My senses are finally back. I try to push myself up and break the tension with a greeting, but my body won't listen to my brain's commands. Though the pain in my chest is gone, my entire body feels like lead. Looks like my mouth and eyes are the only things I've got control over.
一体どういうつもりなの翡翠。兄さんはあの場所に近づけてはいけないって。あなたも知っているでしょうに。
申し訳ありません。
謝って済む問題じゃないわ。あなたを兄さん付きの使用人にしたのはこういう事態を避けるためでしょ。それを忘れてあなたは何をやっていたっていうのよ。
Kiha is seething mad. This might be the most emotion I've ever seen from her. Hisui, head bowed, simply receives her scolding. I don't know what led to all this. All I can tell is that Hisui is getting yelled at because of me.
ほら、口にしてもらえないかしら。あなたは今日一日どこで何をしていたのかを。この人が朝に倒れたことも報告せず、天津さえあの森に行かせてしまった。これは明確な意図があってのことよね。答えなさい翡翠。あなたも私に逆らうつもりなの？
Hisui maintains her silence. The air in the room grows heavier with every breath. Kia bites her lip and takes a step forward. It's obvious to me that she's going to strike her. Hisui continues to look down at the floor, ready to accept her punishment.
ちょっと待て、アキハ。
兄さん、気がついたんですか？
ああ、アキハがあんまりにうるさいんで、今目が覚めた。
Akia looks away, visibly uncomfortable. Hisui, meanwhile, has her eyes to the floor and won't even look in my direction.
あのさ、あんまり翡翠に当たるなよ。事情は知らないけど、俺が倒れたことで揉めてるんだろ。なら、翡翠に責任はない。こんなの、俺が勝手に倒れただけなんだから。
Urging strength into my arms, I lift myself up into a sitting position. That simple motion takes all the energy I have. At this point, I don't think I could lift a finger. But for Hisui's sake, I need to pretend like I'm okay.
まったく、お前も俺のことなんかで喧嘩するな。大人びたように見えて、まだ子供なんだな。
でも兄さんはあれからずっと気を失っていたんですよ。
10時間以上も昏睡しているなんて今までなかったはずです。もし兄さんがあのまま目が覚めなかったら、
Oh man, we were
私はどうす
zonked.
ればいいんですか？
バカ、縁起でもないこと言わないでくれ。こんなのはただの貧血って。なんだ、もう10時を回ってるのか。
はい。ですから兄さんはお昼から今までずっと気を失っていたんです。
Akia's tone is reserved, but it's not my health I'm worried about. It's my promise to Arquaid. 10 o'clock, and don't you dare be late. She looked like she really meant that last part. I can only imagine what she'll put me through if I'm late again.
やばい、行かなくっちゃ。アキハごめん、俺は出かけるから後のことはよろしく頼む。あんまり翡翠をいじめるなよ。
そちらこそバカ。私、兄さんが舞をどこに行くかなんてもう聞きませんからどうか今夜ぐらいはご自分の体を大事にしてあげてください。
アキハ。
She's genuinely pleading with me. Seeing her this worried, I can feel my determination start to waver.
でもこんなのはしょっちゅうなんだぞ。中学の頃なんて日に2回は倒れてたんだしさ。
だから余計に心配なんです。兄さん、お願いだから今日ぐらいは私の言うことを聞いてください。
Akia peers into me, anxiously awaiting my response. I'm going to listen to my Emoto just this once because she is being this genuine. I guess I've got no choice. If I keep going against her wishes, I feel like I'll just make her cry.
わかった。今日はおとなしく眠ることにするよ。
I lie back down.
本当、後になって部屋を抜け出したりするのもなしですよ。
しないよ。実を言うと体がまだ重いんだ。アキハの目を盗んで外に出るなんてとてもできそうにない。
よかった。
Kia lowers her shoulders, obviously relieved.
翡翠、琥珀に兄さんが目を覚ましたことを伝えに行って。兄さん、夕食はどうしますか？
そっか。いや、琥珀さんには悪いけど食べられそうにない。今夜はこのまま眠らせてくれ。
わかりました。翡翠、琥珀にそう伝えてきて。
Well then, now that I'm lying down, my fatigue sets in again, lulling me towards a deep slumber. I've probably got a minute at best before I fall back asleep. But before I do...
アキハ、うちの庭にあんな場所あったっけ？
ええ、私たちが子供の頃よく遊んだ場所です。
そっか。なんだかよく覚えてないな。
Yeah, I'd totally forgotten it, in fact.
それともう一つ変なことを聞くんだけど、その子供の頃さ、俺とアキハともう一人ぐらい子供がいたとかいう話は知らないか？
は？
Akia tilts her head in confusion. That's a reasonable response. Of course there wasn't anyone else. But if there wasn't, then something doesn't add up. What I saw in my dream, and the dream I had in that clearing. If they're the same, there has to have been another child. A child who was killed. Otherwise...
いや、なんでもない。ただの夢の話だ。
そうですか。ではおやすみなさい。兄さん、今夜はゆっくり休んでください。
ああ、そうする。
My consciousness is cut off the moment I respond. The tightening I feel in my chest each time I go to sleep isn't there tonight. It's like a switch has been flipped in my mind. As if to escape from all that's happened today, Shiki Tono sinks deep into a dark abyss. Hi, Nano Cloud. How's it going? Blood Red Moon. I'm actually going to take a look real quick, because I just want to get a good baseline for how far we are. How many days are there again? Oh no! Please don't be dying. Hope it feels better soon. Did someone leave the window open? I can hear birds chirping outside. A cool breeze brushes my cheek. Faint sunlight filters through my eyelids. I'm wrapped in a scene of warm, gentle hues. Greeted by the peaceful morning, I grab my glasses from the pillow without another thought. Ah, that's the worst. Nothing worse than when you like in your mind you know like I need to do this and your body is just not willing to cooperate. That shit actually does suck. I'm very sorry to hear that. That's right. I must have fallen asleep after talking to Akiha. My joints are pretty dull, but I still feel better than I did last night. I mutter to mentally prepare myself. It's time to wake up and face the morning.
あ、やっと起きたのこいつめ。
What the fuck? Arcway jump scare. Except, when I open my eyes, I find myself facing Arcwade instead. I stare silently at her face. Every last thought has been banished from my mind. My brain's gone so blank it might as well be tofu. At this point, I've even forgotten how to breathe. Seriously, what is even happening here? Oh, dang it. All I know is that Arcwade is right in front of me. In my bedroom. At barely 9 in the morning. On my bed, still wearing her boots. I've seen this CG before. I didn't realize this would be the context of it. I just seen this CG with like the meme text where it just says, do you have any games on your phone?
嘘つき。また明日って約束したのに。
Her foul mood has dimmed the luster of her red eyes. Except it really hasn't. Oh yeah, she's gonna ruin the sheets. Hisui's gonna have to clean those, Arcwade. At this proximity, I can appreciate every last detail. Her eyes are stunning. Arcwade stares at me with unblinking disapproval. She's really close to me right now. Close enough for me to notice the smoothness of her skin, to feel her breath and warmth against me. Sweaters are very powerful. The weight of her body pins me into the sheets. Martial artists call it a mount.
ちょっと待ってくれ、アルクエイド。お前、なんで朝から俺の部屋にいる?
And though I want to yell at her, I try my best to keep my voice to a whisper. It'd be all over for me if Hisui heard and came rushing in. I don't know what all's going on, but I'm smart enough to know how bad that'd be.
とにかくどいてくれ。人の部屋に勝手に上がって眠ってる隙に馬乗りとか、真剣無視にも程がある。 インベーダーかお前は。
何よその態度。私がこんなところにやってきたのはシキが約束を破ったからでしょ。人を待たせておいて自分はずっと眠っているなんて一体どういうつもりなの？
Aw. Arkwade pouts and glares at me indignantly. That's right. I promised I'd meet her last night, and I broke that promise. Birds continue to chirp outside. Finally, the pieces start coming together. I understand why Arkwade is angry. But it is an excuse for all this. You don't invade someone else's room while they're asleep, especially when you can just rip into them later. The window was closed when I went to bed, but it's open now, so she must have come in through there.
そうか。約束を破ったんだから、そりゃ確かに俺が悪い。けど、そんなことで人の家に侵入するのはやりすぎだぞ。
ここ、シキの家じゃないわ。
Arkwade sets me straight.
それにね、本当は私、もっと怒ってたんだから。何時間も待ちぼうけで約束を保護にされたんだって気づいたとき、自分でも驚くぐらい頭に血が上ったわ。もう、絶対にこのままじゃ済まさない。乗り込んでいって捕まえて、シキの首根っこぐらい引きちぎってやる。波の言葉じゃ許さないからって。あんなの、経験したことのない精神状態だった。自分でも冷静になろうって思うんだけど、思えば思うほど頭にきちゃって、どんどん熱が上がっていくの。
Jesus Christ. I mean, yeah, I guess that would be an acceptable apology. Oh my lord.
あなたへの文句だけで詰まった底なし沼にはまって、暴れれば暴れるほど沼が広がっていくような気分、分かってもらえる？もう本当にどうにかなりそうでたまらなかったんだから。
Her scarlet eyes are brimming with anger, frustration, and indignation. Whatever she was feeling before, I'd wager it hasn't fully left.
確かにたまらないな。
I idly nod along, covertly brushing my fingers over my neck to make sure it's still intact.
でしょ？それでもう我慢できなくなって忍び込んだんだけど、シキが眠ってるから待ってあげることにしたのよ。でもシキ、なかなか起きないんだもん。やることもなかったし、しばらくあなたの寝顔を見てるしかなかった。
Has this lady just been like perched on top of him, just staring at him for like several hours?
うん。シキの寝顔はね、怖いくらい静かだった。死人のように眠っていて、もう起き上がることはないんじゃないかって不安になったくらい。
はあ、不安だったら起こしてくれればよかったのに。こっちは
Oh yeah, she is a vampire. She's a super vampire.
けど、起こすのももったいなくて。私、自分の眠っている姿は知らないけど、シキみたいに眠れるのなら幸せかもしれないなって。どうしてシキはこんなに穏やかなんだろうってずっと考えながら見つめてた。そうしていたらね、あれだけ湧き上がっていた気持ちも収まって、その後にシキが目を覚ましたの。
それじゃあ夜から今までずっとそこにいたのか？
うん。何度か家の人がやってきたけど、見つからないようにしておいたから大丈夫よ。さっきもシキを起こしに女の子が来たけど、気に食わないから追い返しちゃった。
I'm sorry. What exactly do you mean by that? What do you mean by that, Arkwade? What do you mean you got rid of Hisui? Arkwade gives a flippant chuckle.
待て、追い返したって何を？
手荒な真似はしていないわ。ほら、前に吸血鬼には魅了の魔眼があるって言ったでしょ。あの女の子には、シキはもう学校に行ったって暗示をかけたから、私のことも記憶に残ってないよ。
記憶に残ってないよって、お前ね。
Arkwade sure is pushy about some things, but I guess I should be thankful. She salvaged the situation for me in her own way.
経緯はよくわかった。それと、昨日のことはすまなかった、アルクエイド。その謝罪ってわけじゃないけど。
No, stop it. You do not make those kind of jokes about Hisui. She does not deserve it.
約束する。
She is the one, like, morally good person in this entire universe. The Tsukihime universe, specifically. Our eyes lock as I apologize.
反省してる？
反省してる。何しろ後の報復が恐ろしいって今思い知ってる最中だ。
My hands go up in a show of surrender. Smiling as though her earlier displeasure had evaporated into thin air, Arkwade gives me a satisfied nod. It's all good. I'm mainly coming from a place of fun. At last, she gets off of me in the bed.
にしてもブーツでベッドに乗っかるなんてシーツに足跡がついたら洗濯が大変だなとか思わないのか。
I grumble as I sit up straight. Arkwade watches me crawl out of the bed from a few steps away.
あのさお前何してるの？
何ってシキが着替えるのを待ってるんだけど、その格好のまま出かけるわけにはいかないでしょ。
まあ寝巻きのまま出歩くほどだらしなくは。待て、なんて言った？歩く。
今日一日はずっとシキと行動しようと思って。
Yeah, vampire date!
約束を破った埋め合わせしてくれるんでしょ。
Arkwade replies like it's the most obvious thing in the world. But if we're hanging out all day, doesn't that mean she's asking me to skip school too?
何言ってるんだ。こっちには学校がだな。
何よ、反省してるって言ったのに私より学校を取るの？あなたは。
She really knows how to hit me where it hurts. I take a quick glance at the clock. It's just past 9. If I were to head to school now, I'd be late anyway. Besides, I do owe it to her for making her stand around all night. And when it comes down to it, spending time with her does sound like a lot more fun.
わかったよ。今日一日はアルクエイドに付き合う。けど、昼間に街に出ても手がかりは何もないんじゃないか。
そこは気にしなくていいよ。だって街を散歩するだけなら昼間でも関係ないんだし。
Give me like 2 seconds. I need to run to the restroom. I will be right back. And thank you for waiting. Back and at him.
なんだよ。昨日の夜できなかった分、これから吸血鬼探しをするんじゃないのか。
ええ、もちろん夜になったら調べるわ。けど一日ずっと手伝ってもらうのも大変でしょうから、お昼ぐらいは休んでもいいと思うの。
もっともない意見だけど、二人で街を歩くだけって、それって。
A date. It'll look like a date. Sure, we've walked around at night, but this would be different. We'd 100% look like a couple. These things probably don't even occur to Arkwade, her being a vampire and all. She probably just wants me to take her somewhere fun, but come on. Can I even handle time with her without any vampire hunting to keep us busy?
どうしたの、シキ？顔赤いわよ。
I scramble to cover my face with my hands and avert my gaze from Arkwade. It's not like we haven't already had plenty of alone time. But so far it's been some life or death situation, fighting for survival. Thinking about anything else would have meant certain death. I've been trying to ignore her beauty in order to focus on the task at hand. But what if we just spent the day together like normal people, without a clear objective in mind or any impending doom to distract us? No doubt I'd start to notice things I could do without.
シキ？ねえ、やっぱり学校に行くの？
No, literally, like, that's where I'm at mentally right now.
わけないだろう。うんと言ったんだから付き合うよ。約束は破らないって言っただろ。どんな気まぐれか知らないけど、街を散歩するぐらいなら問題ないだろうし。
ありがとう、シキ。それじゃあ早速行きましょう。
Her smile is dazzlingly bright. What does she have to thank me for? Arkwade practically skips over to the window she presumably entered from.
ちょっと待った。すぐに着替えるから、そこで外でも見ててくれ。
何？呼んだ？
ああ、呼んだけど呼んでない。止めて悪かった。外に出ていてくれ。
うん、屋敷の正門で待ってるわ。今まで散々待ったんだから、これ以上待たせないでね、シキ。
Arkwade slinks out of the window, as lithe and agile as a cat. I watch as she bounds between the trees. There she goes, from branch to branch, never touching the ground even once. Before I know it, she's gone from my sight. Seeing her now, it's no wonder that she managed to slip inside of my room unnoticed.
感心してる場合じゃないか。俺も翡翠に見つからないよう外に出ないと。
I quickly change into some casual attire. It's a school day, so putting on my uniform would only draw unwanted attention. Opening my door just a crack, I peek to make sure nobody's coming down the hall. I don't want to risk passing through the lobby, so instead I climb out of the window of an empty room on the first floor. Finally, I make it to the gate. I had to take a bit of a detour through the garden to avoid detection, so it took a little longer than I would have liked. Of course, Arkwade is here already.
お待たせ。とりあえず移動しよう、アルクエイド。屋敷の周りにいると、琥珀さんに見つかっちまう。
え？ああ、うん。行くなら早く行こっか。
Her response is surprisingly flat compared to how bouncy and energetic she was earlier.
なんだよ、らしくないな。俺を待ってる間に、また何かあったのか？
うん、別に何もなかったけど。
In spite of my tone, her head still seems to be up in the
もしか
clouds.
して昼間だから体調が悪いのか？無理をしてまで出歩く必要はないんだ。苦しいのならやめにしても。
うん、体調は良好なんだけどね。ちょっとこの塀を見ていたら昨日のことを思い出しちゃって。
昨日のことって、公園で俺をずっと待ってたこと？
Arkwade nods meekly.
昨日の夜はここを全力で飛び越えてそのまま式の部屋に忍び込んだんだけど、今にして思うと不思議だなって。
You think?
どうして私あの時あんなに怒ってたんだろう。約束の一つぐらい今まで何度も果たせなかったのに。
Arkwade folds her hands together as she ponders the mystery.
あ、そうだ。式ならわかるかな。 いつも私をバカバカって言い伏せるんだから、これぐらいわかるでしょ。
あのな。
Arkway doesn't know, then there's no way I would. But if I were to wager a guess, because she's selfish, it's because she wanted revenge, it's because she's a vampire. I don't really like any of these options, but maybe it's because she's selfish. She wants to monopolize me.
単にアルクエイドは怒りやすいだけなんじゃないか。基本的にわがままな性格しているからな。
I can only call it like I see it.
そっか、言われてみればそうかも。私、シキに殺されてからすっごく感情的になってるみたいだし。
Arkway nods along, somehow pleased with that conclusion. I'm less convinced that's the right answer, but if Arkway is satisfied, I guess it's settled.
疑問は評価しましたか。なら、さっさと移動しよう。
Oh, it's not, but I just, what was I trying to say? I feel like the top option was just the most correct one overall. Even if we haven't decided on a destination yet, we should at least get away from the Tono estate. This hill overlooking the city contains nothing but the mansion and some woods, neither of which is the kind of playground Arkway's probably looking for. Alright, Arkwade, let's go hit up the movies. For now, we'll just head for the station in the middle of town. Arkwade skips down the slope ahead of me. She's like a kid excited to go on her first errand.
ところでシキ、今日は服装が違うのね。いつもの黒い服はどうしたの？
いつもの黒い服って。
Right. In her mind, my school uniform and I are practically come as a pair. Though I'd argue our uniform is really more of a dark navy, I really wish she'd stop taking every chance to paint me as some kind of emo kid.
あのな、昼間から学生服で出てこられるか。で、じゃない。今日は特別な今までとは違う街の探索なんだろう。だからこっちもちょい上品な私服に着替えてきたんだよ。
To be fair, I mostly just swapped out my sneakers for some leather shoes, but at least it's something.
なるほど。特別だものね。
Arkwade pauses, as if she just thought of something.
シキ、そこでストップして、周り右して目をつむって。そうね。10秒。3秒でいいか。
回れ右って後ろを向けってこと？
She says it so casually that I don't even think twice about following her orders. I spin around and close my eyes. The moment I do, my thoughts catch up and I start wondering what the hell I'm doing.
見てなさい。私も負けないから。
Outdone? And what? Suddenly, I feel a strange gust of wind swirl around behind my back.
おい、これに何の意味か。
Cute. My thoughts and words come to an abrupt halt. That is really cute. I actually really like that. I gape in stunned silence. Holy shit. This can't be real. What the hell is this new look of hers? Is that fur? And a bow? How did she change in the blink of an eye? No, where did she even get this from? None of that matters. She looks good. Devastatingly good. But there's still a conservative look to it, like it doesn't go overboard. It is very tasteful. I love how you can hear the heartbeat sound effect. What are you saying? How do I even respond to that? Is it cute, she asks? Like she hasn't just transcended all known dimensions of cuteness? This is beyond comprehension, beyond human intellect even. Don't tell me all vampires come with perfect date outfits. She was already so cute I could die, and she still outdoes herself. What is she, a fashion model? God, she's like the fluffiest rabbit given human form. I just want to take a picture and treasure it forever. Mans is down bad catastrophically. Are you just using every cheat code imaginable, you monster?
黙ってちゃいいか悪いかもわからないんですけど、特別な日なんだからこれくらいの方がいいのよね、四季。
いいか悪いかってお前。
It's bad. Really, really bad, in fact. For my mental stability, that is. I should deny it on behalf of all humankind so she can no longer wreak havoc on us. But I wonder if there's anyone on this earth who could deny Arcwade when she's looking this fine. I grit my teeth. I've got to fight every urge to raise my white flag and surrender. Pulling together every last shred of dignity in me, I utter a response.
まあそれくらいなら問題はない。
Most fucking soon man to ever exist. Holy. Though I struggled, I managed to preserve humanity's dignity. Smooth. Her earlier play might have broken through my defenses and done some damage, but I've regained the high ground. There's no reason for me to panic any further. Right now, I've got to pull myself together and rein her in like usual.
よし、アルクエイド行きたいところとかあるのか。
わからないから四季に任せるわ。どこか適当なところに連れて行って。
Wherever I'd like, huh? She's clearly the kind of person who says that anything is fine when you ask them what they want for dinner. It sounds simple enough, but in truth, having this much freedom only ups the difficulty. God, if that ain't the fucking truth. Oh, I have no clue what kind of place Arcway would like to visit, but I'm going to have to think of something before we get to the station. At least I've got enough in my wallet to cover whatever we do. Where should we go? Hey. I remember that she likes the movies from when I played originally, and thankfully I probably wouldn't choose either. I wouldn't choose option 2, that just feels like, come on, bro. And then 3, it's like, we go to the park all the time. So yeah, let's go watch a movie. It's not like this is actually a date, but there's no harm in going for a tried and true movie date. You won't get bored as long as the movie is decent, and discussing it afterwards lets you get a read of the other person's taste and preferences. Not a bad idea if I say so myself. Movies are at their best in a theater, and just so we're clear, this is absolutely not a date. Yo, Tony music.
ここはいつも賑やかね。何があるのかはよく知らないけど、娯楽施設が集中してるってことでしょ。
Side by side, Arcwade and I traverse the sunlit city. On the way, and now even, I've been acutely aware of the stares we're attracting as we make our way down the street. It's no mystery as to why. Arcwade is a sight to behold, a once-in-a-lifetime beauty. But the more people stare at us, the more self-conscious I become. I'm even too preoccupied to answer her endless stream of questions.
ねえ、聞いているの、四季。これからどこに行くのかって聞いてるんだけど、私。
聞いてるというかもう着いた。ほら、あれが目的の映画館だ。
映画館。映画を見ようってことなんだ。
Okay, took me a second here. I realize now that that says Soya SS, but for a second I thought that was saying like soy ass, but with like a U in the inserted. I knew things were going to go going too smoothly. Her Highness is clearly not in the mood for a movie, but we've come this far. I'm not about to change tracks now. From the start, it's not like I had any way of knowing where a vampire would actually want to go. She can complain all she wants, but I'm not going to give up the charge.
いいから入るぞ。不満があるならここで別行動すればいいだろう。
まあ、不満はないけど。
Arcwade follows me inside with a pointed sigh. She's sulking. Her shoulders slump with disinterest as if she's berating me for my incompetence.
チケットを買ってくるけど何を見る？今やってるのは 恋愛ものと恋愛ものと恋愛ものだな。
What's with the sugar sweet lineup? Is this a cinema or a candy store?
ふざけてるな。俺も帰りたくなってきた。
私はどれでもいいわ。なんかどれも同じみたいだもの。退屈でも我慢する。これも乗りかかった船でしょ。
She parries with a phrase she must have picked up somewhere. This is my fault for not looking up the movie schedule ahead of time.
めんぼくない。
I was gonna say, this is modern day, not like the original, so like you actually have no excuse for not knowing what movies are in theaters. The line is short, so it isn't long before it's my turn to buy the tickets. Arkwade isn't just a vampire, but a foreigner too. She'd probably enjoy a foreign film more than she would a Japanese one, so I go with a French flick. We've got 10 minutes until the movie starts.
お待たせ。上演時間まで10分空いてるから、そこの喫茶店にでも入ろう。日差しの下にいるの辛いだろ。
もう昼間だから辛いとか眠いとかそういうの関係ないって言ってるでしょ。10分ならここで問題ないわ。次に吸血鬼だろみたいなこと言ったら怒るからね。
She went from 0 to 100 in a second flat. To be fair, I might have been a little overbearing. Arkwade is built way tougher than I am, so it makes sense that my overprotectiveness has started to get on her nerves.
了解。じゃあ、ここで時間を潰そう。
We move closer to the wall of the department store. Arquade's eyes are firmly affixed to the passing crowds. She's still pouting. From off to the side, I steal a glance at her. If I'd known she'd sulk this much, I would have chosen someplace else. Maybe the park would have been better. Or I could have gone big and taken her to an amusement park. Then I might have been spared this disapproval painted on her face. Oh, did they change it? Does she not like movies? Or wait, no. I think I remember that she like...
私退屈。何か言って。
There it is. Dance for me, peasant. What am I, her jester?
だから、どこのお姫様だよ、お前は。何かって、例えば何？
しりとりとか？
は？
I furrow my brow. Where did she even get that idea from? Ah, that explains it. A young couple is playing the word game not too far away from us. Beloved. A beloved. Diolinoir. What the? Reaffirm. Montesquieu. The bizarre chain of words they're forming is enough to make anyone's head spin. But the way they're acting is so... I'm trying not to cringe picturing myself doing that.
やめよう。しりとりは良くない。
なんで？映画待ちのカップルはしりとりをするものだってあの人たち言ってたけど。
そんなのはただのザレ言だ。気にするな。だいたいしりとりで時間潰しなんて旧時代にも程がある。携帯でネットニュースでも漁ってなさい。
そうなの？でも楽しそうだよ、あの二人。
あの手の二人組は何やっても楽しそうなの。そもそもしりとりは苦手なんだ。やってると悲しくなる。それだけは何があっても却下だからな。
シキ、しりとりに弱いんだ。語彙少ないの？
Learn some words, Tsukihime.
弱いんじゃなくて苦手なんだよ。ていうかつまんないだろ、言葉をつなげても。いい。5分前だし、そろそろ入ろう。これチケットな。中に入るときに見せればいい。券の半分を取られるけど、それが決まりなんだから怒ったりしちゃダメだぞ。
それぐらい知ってるわ。シキは私のこと何にも知らない女だって思ってるのね。
ああ、いや、なんとなく。あんまり人間社会のことを知らないのかなって。
知識だけならきちんと蓄えているって言わなかったかしら。私、映画館のことぐらい知ってるわ。
She's gonna say some shit like, wait, what do you mean they're in color now? What do you mean these things have sound? Arkway turns away with a humph and enters the theater. I messed up. Coming to the cinema was my idea, but all it did was bore her even more. We getting any inside the theater CGs? Nope, nope. We exit the theater. The movie we watched, Romance shockingly, wasn't dull, but I wouldn't say it was particularly interesting either. It was a quintessential French movie, all focused on atmosphere with little to no action or drama. Arkwade walks next to me in absolute silence. This awkwardness is killing me. If only there had been an action or horror movie in the lineup. Maybe she'd have enjoyed herself.
あのさ、ハルクエイド。今日のはたまたま向いてな。
すっごく面白かったね、シキ。
Yeah, we got her. And she's so moved she's giving it a rave review?
いや、
I know these things are a matter of personal taste, but super duper amazing? Seriously?
参ったな。聞くのと見るのとじゃ大違いなんだもん。そりゃ知識としては知っていたけど、そんなのさまつな空想でしかなかったみたい。暗がりっていうのがいいのかな。大きい音なのにうるさくなかったし、四季が隣にいるのも楽しかったし。でも何より内容が良かったよね。よくもまあ架空の話をあそこまで作り上げられるものだなって驚いたわ。あの情景の細かさに比べたら私の作るイメージなんて子供騙しみたいなものだし、本当に感心しちゃった。
Arkwade amazed by the talent of writers. Kudos, writers are actually very valuable. Oh, typo. Nice try. It's fine. I point them out because they're funny, but overall this translation has been just a noticeable step above, like the Mahoyo one, so really no complaints there. Arkwade is smiling from the bottom of her heart. Looks like she legitimately enjoyed that highbrow love story.
そうなのか。まあ、エッフェル塔もどきの建物は確かに見応えあったけど。
Though, wasn't it basically a ripoff of Tokyo Skytree? You think you got that backwards, buddy.
あれ、仕切ったら冴えない顔してる。もしかしてつまんなかった？
いや、つまらなくはなかったけど、普通だなって。あれだったら他にもっと面白いものがあるし。
嘘。だってさっきのすごく良かったよ。
He's flabbergasted.
総合点は低いんじゃないかな。今は時期を外しているからやってないけど、大作の映画はあの数倍退屈しないぞ。はっきり言って、さっき見たのは中の芸ぐらいのランクだよ。
I need to see Arquade's Letterboxd.
びっくり。
わかりやすい感情表現をするんだな、アルクエイド。
To be honest, I'm more stunned than surprised. Based on her attitude going in, I was figuring she'd be bitching and moaning about it. Instead, she's over the moon, giddy like a wide-eyed child.
残念だな。昨日までなら文句なしにいい映画がやってたんだ。そんなに喜ぶと知っていれば夜のうちに連れてきてたのに。
Not because I want her gratitude or anything. I'm just genuinely curious how much bigger her smile would be if I'd taken her to see something more fun.
そっか。間が悪いんだね、私と仕切って。
Arquade's shoulders slump in disappointment.
本当だな。なんだか空振ってばっかりだ。
I sigh and drop my shoulders as well. If only I'd known. I would have loved to see Arquade that excited for just a little longer. Delicious company. We end up going for a late-ish lunch at a little past 2 in the afternoon. Don't call me out like this game, I haven't eaten lunch yet. And I'm also like starting to get really fucking hungry, so the second I end stream, I'm gonna go get food. I would have liked to take Arquade somewhere fancy, but ultimately I'm limited by what my wallet can afford.
私、四季がいつも食べているところがいい。
That's what the lady said, so food court it is. Though I'm not sure if Arquade... Yo, they got the Baskin ribbons? Though I'm not sure if Arquade will even want to eat any of this, it's still worth a try. After intensely scrutinizing the menu for... Sorry about that. After intensely scrutinizing the menu for a good while, she ends up ordering the same thing as me. I sit in the chair across from Arquade. She takes a restless look around the food court before popping a french fry into her mouth with practiced ease.
慣れてるんだろう。てっきりこういう店は初めてだと思ってた。
ええ、こういうところは初めてよ。 前からどういった施設かは知っていたけど、それは知識だけのものだしね。
知識だけって。そっか。ニュースを見るんだから雑誌だって目を通しているのか。服も普通だし、割とこっちの事情に適応してるんだよな。
Blov's attire was a lot closer to my idea of a Western vampire, something more stereotypically medieval than what Arquaid is wearing now, but I guess even vampires know how to keep up with the times.
そういうプロセスで適応してるわけじゃないけど、ともあれ人間の文明圏に入るのなら、それに即した常識は必要でしょ。だから起きた時はその時代の情報を覚えてから行動するの。まあ大抵は1日や2日で決着がつくから無駄になるんだけどね。
Every now and then, Arquaid says something that goes totally over my head.
無駄になるってどうして？
だってことが終わればすぐに眠りに戻るから、次の目覚めが何年先になるかわからないんだし、覚えた知識は全て捨てて次の目覚めに備えていたの。でもそれって損をしてたみたい。私はね、今まで知識でしか世界を知らなかった。こういう人間たちの集まりがあるって知っていても、それを経験することはしなかったのよ。
なるほど。けど知ってるんならそれでいいんじゃないのか。現にさっきだってメニューに迷いはしたけど、注文自体はスッとしてたんだし。
当然よ。そういう風に対応できるよう知識を得ているんだから。でもそれは数値だけの話なのよね。情報だけの世界はそれはそれで真だけど、受肉からの感覚は正しい理論より真がある。経験は理論を凌駕するってこういうことだったのね。何千億の単語を覚えていても、実際にやってみないと何も手に入らないんだなって。
どうだろう。
Sorry. A somber sigh escapes her lips.
あるとは思うけど。
それは理論だけしか知らない人の言葉でしょ。まあちょっと前までの私がそうなんだけど。
Arquaid is looking more downtrodden by the second. She's dragging me down too. I'm not really sure how to put it, but I just don't like seeing her this sad.
早計じゃないか。単にさ、理論だけで経験を補えるやつと、経験で理論を覆せるやつがいるだけだと思うけど、ほら周りを見ろよ。この店だけでもこれだけ違う人たちがいるんだ。いろんなやつがいるんだから、誰もが自分と同じじゃないだろ。
うわ、シキが真面目なこと喋ってる。
そっちが真面目な話をしたから、こっちもそれに付き合ってるんですよ。話の腰を折らないでくれ。
Especially now that you're finally opening up about yourself.
知ってる。シキって私の話したいことを話したい時にちゃんと付き合ってくれるって。いつもは怒鳴り散らすけど、深刻になれば話を聞いてくれるでしょ。
Arquaid laughs cheerfully. I'll never say this out loud, but her laugh is nothing like that of a vampire. Do I really get shouty that often, though?
私って視野が狭かったのね。自分がこうと決めたら、それ以外のものは見えなくなるんだもの。私には自分しかいらない。自分だけが正しくあればいいって、そんな風にしか考えられない。でもそうよね。こんなにいろんな心があるんだから、私にできないことを当たり前のようにやってしまえる人だって世の中にはたくさんいるんだわ。
Arquaid's tone is almost gentle as she considers her shortcomings.
もっとも反省したところで私の性格は変わりはしないんだけど、私今の自分が一番好きだし、やっぱり正しいんだって信じてるから。
Aww. Arquaid smiles proudly, takes another quick look around the food court, and follows with a hearty bite of her hamburger. Chomp, chomp. There she goes, eradicating my preconceptions about vampires again with each bite of junk food. It's strange. There's no way to eat a burger elegantly, but somehow Arquaid still manages to look gorgeous while doing so. So gorgeous it's almost uncanny.
何？ 人のことチロチロ見て、あ、これってこういう風に食べるものじゃないの？
Arcade scrambles to place the burger back onto the tray. Sheepishly, she pats her lips with a napkin. Even this simple, mundane action looks exceptionally high class when she does
い
it.
や、それで合ってる。合ってるけど、なんか変だ。お前の場合、似合わないから食べるな。
No, give the cat girl the funny burgers.
何よそれ。似合わないってどういう意味？
イメージの問題だよ。お前みたいに口が小さいやつにファーストフードは向かないんだな。おとなしくポテトをかじっている分には問題ないから、俺の分もやる。
I place my fries on Arcwade's tray. Frankly, I'm not really sure what's driving me to act like this either.
いらない。せっかく食事をとることにしたのに、そんな柔らかいものばっかりじゃ物を食べてるって気がしないもの。
Arcwade purses her lips into a pout, then bites into her hamburger again. Every chomp of hers feels particularly exaggerated now that she's aware of my critical gaze. The intense ephemeral beauty that enveloped her before has diminished a little, making the scene just barely tolerable to the human eye. She's Monchin. Doesn't make a hamburger-eating vampire any less bizarre, though. As a fact of nature, creatures need to ingest nutrients in order to survive. Most do that by eating. And yet, Arcwade said she doesn't drink blood. That mean her source of nutrition is the same as ours? Just regular food?
なあ、アルクエイド。
何よ、意地悪。
いや、もう文句は言わないって。聞きたいことができたんだけど、いいか？
いいけど、何？
あのさ、お前は吸血鬼だろ。なら、食事って呼べるものは血液だけじゃないのかなって、そう疑問に思った。
Arcwade's eyes open wide. I knew it. This was an inappropriate question to ask. Just look at her. She's obviously not bothered?
あのね、シキ。基本的に私は食事を取らないんだ。確かに、こういう風に栄養素を口にすれば自分の力だけで動けるけど、それは気分の問題なの。私の熱量の補充方法はシキたちとは違う。確かに食欲はあるけど、それは人間でいうところの性欲と同じかな。食べないとイライラするけど、私はあんまり食事に重きを置いていないから、反転衝動に襲われることは少ないよ。
Arcwade casually rejects the notion of a blood-based diet. Looks like she really is fine without drinking it at all.
そうか。
Thank God. Arcwade might be a vampire, but she isn't at all like the rest of her kind. She doesn't kill people in order to feed. Seriously, why couldn't she have told me this from the start? She could have just said, I'm a vampire that doesn't need to drink blood. Things would have been so much easier. I would have been much more willing to cooperate.
ってちょっと待った。お前そりゃ吸血鬼って言わないぞ。
言うわよ。シキだって食事が味のないものばかりだったら耐えられなくなるでしょ。栄養素より毒素が多いものを食べたいと思う時がある。例えばこのハンバーガーね。シキ、あなたはなんでこの店を選んだの？単純な熱量補充のため？それともこの加工された粗末な肉と安いパンと化学調味料の塊をさしたる工夫も技術もなしに調理した大量生産品を心の底から食べたいと思ったから？
恥ずかしながら、そういうジャンクなハンバーガーを食べたいと思ったからです。
うん、それでいい。別に恥ずかしがることはないんだよ。私だって毒になると分かっていても美味しそうに見えるものはある。私にとって人間の血液はそういうもの。取らなくてもいいものを取りたいという欲求において、私とあなたは変わらないわ。ほら、知性体は繁殖であれ食事であれ、それに何らかの二次的利益を付加しないとサボってしまう生き物でしょ。美味しいから物を食べる。気持ちいいから交配をする。その究極があなたたち人間なんでしょうね。なんであれ、快楽につなげることがより強い繁栄方法だと知っている。比較的弱い生命体が最も強い生存力を示したこの宇宙でも稀有な例なんだから。
There's a certain passion to her words. She says them without a single drip of disdain for humanity. If anything, it sounds more like a mother, fondly extolling the growth of her children. However,
いや、それはどうなんだ。
she's making it sound like humans can't survive without entertainment or pleasure. As a human myself, I find that kind of tough to accept.
いいのよ、それで。だからこそあなたたちはこの星で一番の行動動物になった。生存することに意味を見出そうとする生命なんて星からしたらとんでもない進化だもの。まさにその発想はなかったね。とにかく神素である吸血種。私の場合はそんな形而上の二次的利益を満たしてくれる最上級の食べ物が血液なの。
So they don't need blood, but they really, really, really want it.
だから活動するということだけを目的とするのなら人間の血を取る必要は全くない。
つまり神素という吸血鬼にとって精神的空腹を満たすのに一番適したものが血液だと。けどアルクエドは血を吸うのは嫌いだって言ったよな。そうか。人間に食べ物の好き嫌いがあるようにアルクエドは血の味が嫌いってわけだな。
Realization hits me out of nowhere. But it's refuted just as quickly by Arcwade's troubled frown.
わからない。血の味なんて私知らないもの。
She doesn't know?
私は吸血種としては半人前だって言ったでしょ。血の味は知らない。それがどんなものなのかまだわからない。わかるのは血を吸うということはその相手を人と認識しなくなるっていうことだけ。
Arcwade mutters as she casts her gaze to the side.
ねえシキ、もしもよ、もしも鳥や魚にあなたと同じぐらいの知性と寿命があったらあなたは食べられる？どんなに知性があっても食べ物は食べ物だからって割り切って食べられる？
いや、それは。
Could I? I'm not sure, but I suppose if there were still creatures of lesser intelligence around, I'd rather eat those
ほ
instead.
ら、そういうこと。私が血を嫌っているのはそういう理由なんだ。まあ、シキの言う通り好き嫌いはあるのかもしれない。私、できることなら血は見たくないもの。だけど、そうね。もしも私に人の知性や価値観がなかったら、ためらうことなく血を吸っていたかもしれない。生きるために他の生命を奪うことは自然界じゃ当然の摂理なんだし。
That is true. I can't help but flinch a little in surprise. She's saying it's not a sin to murder in the name of survival. It's a perfectly natural line of reasoning for a vampire, but hearing it from her lips still makes me recoil. I'm here to kill vampires that follow that very line of thought. And I'm not about to view Arcwade as one of them.
そりゃ生きるために他の生き物を食うのは自然の摂理だろう。けど人間とお前は似たようなもんじゃないか。だからそういう例え話はやめてくれ。もしもの話はあんまり好きじゃないんだ。
そう？私はイフって好きよ。どんな結果になるかわからないけど、とりあえずその時はどこかに救いがあるような気がするでしょ。
What ifs? What if she wasn't a vampire? Then I wouldn't have to feel like this. What if she was a blood-sucking monster like other vampires? Would I be less irritated?
どうしたのシキ？いきなり暗い顔しちゃって。あ、もしかしてトイレとか？
人が真面目に悩んでるっていうのによりにもよってそれか。お前は。
I sigh. But honestly, that was just what I needed to pull myself back. No matter how hard I think about them, these moral questions about drinking or not drinking blood don't seem to affect Arcwade all that much.
そうだよな。俺には関係のない話だった。
もうさっきから一人でブツブツ言っちゃって。隠し事はずるいわよシキ。
Arcwade huffs at me like an angry kitten.
隠し事なんかしていないよ。そもそも隠し事だらけなのはそっちの方だろ。いつも俺にはわからない話をして面白がってるんだから。
面白がってるってそんなことあるけど。
なんだ、本当にこっちが頭を抱えてる姿面白がってたのか。いたずら好きっていうか秘密主義っていうか。ま、どうせ俺はお前とは違う生き物だからどうでもいいけど。
そんなことない。私ちゃんと式には話してあげてるよ。隠し事が多いように見えるのは式があんまり聞いてこないだけなんじゃない？
There she goes again, hitting me where it hurts. To be honest, I've consciously avoided asking her too much. As a human, it's terrifying to venture any deeper into the world of vampires. And as an individual, I didn't want to know so much that I couldn't go back to my old mundane life whenever I felt like it. But after last night, I've come too far to keep myself in the dark. There are some things I simply have to know.
よし、聞けば教えてくれるんだ。なんでも。
ええ、私たち協力し合ってるチームだもの。
Then I'll do exactly as she wants. I'll get straight to the core of the matter, to the one thing that Arkwade has been evading this entire time. The identity of her target. I need to know who this vampire is that we're chasing.
それじゃあ質問。アルクエド、お前の敵って結局どんな吸血鬼なんだ？
それはその。
なんだよ。俺に隠し事はしないってさっき言ったばかりじゃないか。
そうなんだけど怒らないで聞いてね。この町に吸血鬼が潜んでいると分かったのはつい最近のことで、私はまだ本体に出会えてさえいない。今回の敵がどんな姿をしているのか、男性なのか女性なのか子供なのか大人なのかさえ分からない。
じゃあ他の特徴は？ほら、ブローブの懲罰能力だっけ？ああいう特徴はないのか？
それも実際に見るまでは断定できない。私の追っている敵はそう強力な人じゃないけど、今回は何を得意としてどんな体になっているのか私には予測できない。そうね、その幅広さがあいつの特徴と言えるかも。この町にあいつの気配があることしか私にはわからないわ。
She seems to be telling the truth, but it does feel like she's hiding something crucial. For starters,
まだ見つけていない以上相手の特徴はわからない。けどそいつの名前ぐらいは知ってるだろう。
名前。
そう、名前。
Arkwade hangs her head and goes silent. She's struggling. Something is preventing her from saying her target's name. Or so I thought.
あいつの名前。
A feeling of foreboding gnaws at my chest. A chill runs down my neck, cold enough to make me believe she's frozen the entire restaurant with a single breath.
あいつの名前はね、シキ。
She said she wouldn't hide anything from me.
あいつの名前はミハイル。ミハイル・ロワ・バルダムよ。人間から吸血鬼になった。どこにでもいる使徒の一人よ。
Though her eyes remain downcast, her lips are chillingly beautiful as she mouths the words. Yet, a deep sense of loathing fills every word.
アルクエド。
She remains silent, but her shoulders tremble. She's doing her best to hold back everything she's feeling even now.
つまらないことを聞いて悪かった。名前が知れただけで十分だ。あとは直接見つけてこの目で確かめればいいさ。
Arkwade lightly shakes her head, as though she's telling me she can't lay the matter to rest now. Oh. Okay. Well, we got our antagonist name drops. That's cool. The scene, Food Court Princess. That's really good. Been going for about 2 hours 15. Probably gonna call it here. I do need to go get food because my ass is really hungry. Who is live? Who is live? Frost is live. Frost just went live. And he's checking out the grand finale of Megaton Musashi, Wired. That game's been pretty cool from the few times I've dropped in to watch it, so gonna send you on over his way. And yeah, hope that you guys have a nice rest of your Tuesday. It's Tuesday. So we will go ahead and set up that raid. Get you going over there. Oh, yeah, actually. Oh, before I go, actually, wanted to mention tomorrow night, Wednesday, later stream, but we are going to be doing a collab with one Calamity Carl. We're going to be checking out the Dungeon Duel Monsters game. It's a fun little roguelike Yu-Gi-Oh mode that you can do a 2-player versus campaign themed around various eras of Yu-Gi-Oh. And yeah, we're going to be checking that out, so looking forward to that. The only other stream on the docket for the week is Sunday. Sunday we're going to be doing more Tsukihime, but unfortunately otherwise I am going to be swamped at work, so I don't want to commit to anything. Maybe we'll do a stream at some point if I'm feeling up to it, but yeah, no promises as far as that goes. And then, yeah. Here we go. We'll get that raid going now, since I got my spiel about the schedule going. Yeah, so thank you once again for everyone who dropped by, and have a lovely rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Later.